7th, 2020. I had to look at my calendar.
We don't know what day it is anymore.
It's one of those years. Welcome to Pitch the World, Season 2, Episode 6. Today we're going to have all three of the hosts all together, one live.
Oh, this is exciting. I've been waiting for this one right here. This is going to be good.
Yeah. So we're each going to kind of just go through sort of in a round table fashion, some of our methods of adapting to COVID-19 and some of the issues we've experienced and some of the successes we've actually found a way to experience as well. And, I think it's important for the three of us who are in such different industries to kind of bounce off each other what we've seen in our respective industries as far as maybe our customers adapting and succeeding. What are our customers doing right now? What are people we're seeing doing and they're able to adapt and succeed during this climate? So I thought it'd be great for the three of us to get together and chat about this and see how my two fellows are doing.
Awesome,
yeah,
Adam.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm super excited about it. Myself and having Damien here from Colombia. Me and Adam are in South Florida, and having the three of us here. We've never done this before, so that's what's even more exciting about this. We're all like good friends, partners, comrades, long-term like friendships and stuff like that put together during crazy times. So it's going to be quite interesting. Damien, what's your thoughts from Colombia? Much different place right now.
I think this is going to be an awesome show. I'm excited to hear from everybody, and especially those people that are watching live. So wherever in the world you are, I'd love to hear where you are. I'm here in Colombia, and I'm going through some incredible challenging, some incredible growth opportunities, and I'm learning a lot. And let me tell you, it's been a big change coming here to Colombia. But I've had to respect the laws, and we'll get more into that later. But I'm definitely looking forward to this show. So if you get benefit from this at any stage, hit the like, share it. We'd love to hear from you and see what you're doing during this pandemic. So, yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point to also, we encourage the audience, whether you're watching this live or watching the recorded version, to share with us your experience. How have you had to adapt to this pandemic, and what are some methods you've had to undertake in order to succeed in your respective business? I'd like to just maybe start with one of you guys, maybe Jonathan. What are some ways that you've sort of adapted, since this pandemic has started?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's honestly been crazy to see like everything that has been happening. We've had, since we run a few companies, including like Pitch Investors Live, then we have e-commerce, that's how me and Damien met, was through the e-commerce realm. It's been quite significant, the amount of adapting that has had to come into play because of everything happening here. So not only do we have like an economic demise, put together with a pandemic, with a lockdown, but as I talked about, I actually wrote an article like in October about like the pending crash of the economy, and then basically the rise of technology. So I never would have thought there would have been a pandemic. I'm saying that would have taken the economy down. That was not what I expected. We were overdue like an economic downturn, but as this came on, more than ever, you're actually seeing just that. There's a technological revolution. What I've been calling for years, the digital revolution, is taken on more than ever. So these digitized companies, some of them are doing much better right now than they were before the pandemic. Zoom's like price went up the wall.
A great example.
So for us, like, obviously we have Pitch Investors Live. So we've had to shift a lot of our efforts because it's not the same. There's a lot of entrepreneurs and startups that don't have money. Not only do they not have money, and we're here to help them raise money, but, they don't even have money to spend on services like that. And you have to shift from, higher production costs / higher consulting costs to lower ones. And how do you do that? And it's through the digital realm. So, I'll let Damien speak on this part more, but we're basically starting a Shopify store. I know Adam has been a huge proponent of for a long time. Like Damien has talked about it. We're actually extremely excited. So you guys will see a Shopify store coming for Pitch Investors Live. We might even have some Pitch the World stuff in there. We're super excited about that. But our other business, we basically lost like 30-40% of all of our customer base down in because of international shipping. International shipping is a mess. It is so bad. The logistics are so bad. So we had to completely shut off all the world. So we were shipping around the world. We had to completely cut it out, and that cut 30-40% of our revenue. Luckily for us, in the last month and change, our sales have literally gone up dramatically. And the biggest thing was like, and Damien knows this too. Adam, you knew it too. And I was like, man, with everything happening, it's really dangerous for, both my e-commerce company and Pitch Investors Live, because what was happening was a reality. And the biggest thing is to stay steady. And I think one of the biggest things that has helped us is still having that vision and knowing that you have to adapt and keeping the people within the company inspired, because 30 million people, I don't know if the number's gone up today or if it goes up tomorrow, but there's 30 million people in the United States have lost.
More than that. Yeah. It's
I don't know what it's at now. Last week, 30 million in the last 6 weeks. So, you have to keep people inspired. And I think that was a big part of what we're doing, is like keeping people inspired with a vision. And luckily, because we're a digitized company doing shipments, a lot of Mother Day stuff was going on. Our sales actually skyrocketed. So we're doing better with e-commerce company with just the United States than we basically anytime done. We're seeing traffic right now on Shopify that's over Black Friday and Cyber Monday traffic. It's absolutely absurd what's happening, but the physical companies are taking a hit. So, that's a little bit of the food that, we were doing basically, just keeping people inspired, seeing the clear vision and adapting. We had to switch and adapt like crazy, and not be keyed to like one area. You have to quickly shift, and the bigger the company you have, it's harder to do that. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Damien, I know you're in Colombia now, and I see a lot of what you're doing in terms of teaching people how to sell online. I mean, has that business been skyrocketing for you now, when we're sort of forced, leveraging technology and learning how to adapt with this new technology?
Yeah, so I'll break it down into two components. One being Pitch Investors Live, and the other then being e-commerce related. And for a lot of you guys out there that know me, one of my goals is to empower and to help people around the world to get funding, growth, opportunity, to find new ways of generating income, finding new ways of opening up a whole new world of opportunity. And from the Pitch Investors Live side, we're seeing a lot of inquiries now, whether you're on our email list, whether you're on our social media following, whether you're contacting Diana and a few of our amazing business advisors. We're getting a lot of attention now on people trying to make that shift. So as Jonathan says, how do you shift and how do you pivot in a world that is ever changing? And one of those aspects right now is a lot of these retail, traditional brick and mortar businesses that were so reliant on footfall of traffic. So it was all about where you were located in the store, what city you're in, what kind of, loyal customers you had coming by every day to produce cash flow. But now we're in a situation where Amazon stock has gone up. People are looking for convenience, looking for speed, looking for things that they can use at home, and looking for ways to connect. And here at Pitch Investors Live, our vision has always been to connect people regardless of location, demographic, age. And we're finding now a lot of people taking advantage of the opportunity, because with every pandemic and with every situation, there comes an opportunity. And that's the way you got to look at life. You got to look at life at, how can I benefit, or how can I take something that is really, bringing me down? Like right now, I was in a situation last night with the police, for being outside. I've adapted and I've learned that, hey, because I wasn't able to communicate in Spanish, I got to learn Spanish. So these are all things that I'm learning.
Yeah.
And going back to your point, so number one, people are looking for ways to get their business ideas, their funding out there to the world. And that's what we're trying to do here at Pitch Investors Live. Number two, people are looking at ways now while they're at home, with their kids. Maybe they're having extra time with their hands now, and they're looking for ways to make money online. One of those ways, as Jonathan says, is to build a online digital infrastructure, right? Whether you own a coffee brand, whether you own a seminar business, take that online, right? Bring it in online, create an email list, create a website, get up and running, get your store going. And I'm just seeing a tremendous amount of growth. And a lot of people now taking advantage of Mother's Day, May 10th. Now they're going to take advantage of Father's Day, June 21st, because here's what's happening.
Yeah.
You, me, Jonathan, we're not seeing our families. There's people on this live right now. They're not connecting with their families. They're missing birthdays. They're missing anniversaries. They're missing special occasions. So what do? Well, you look at a way to find alternative methods to communicate. And one of those ways is buying gifts and shipping that gift, that personalization, that thing that means a lot to that person directly to the
Yeah, exactly.
online shopping. And that's basically it. People are adapting. People are looking for ways to spend money. They're not going to the club. They're not going to the restaurants. And they need to get their money.
Damien, quick question for you, Damien. Have you seen more people come up and that have never been in this space, like ask you more questions? Because I had a course back in the days and stuff like that, and I love seeing who got into it. But for you, that you're like actively still doing some of your entrepreneurial, coaching and such, are you seeing like new people come in to ask you questions like, hey, how do I start a business now? Just because they kind of have to? Is that coming up now?
Yeah, we're getting a lot of organic inquiries. We're getting a lot of people just finding me on Instagram, finding me on Facebook, and through the pitch ecosystem, right? We've built an incredible ecosystem that is going to empower and get people the information they need. So what people are finding is that, wait a minute, I don't need to go outside to get the information. I can go online. I can get mentorship through online programs. I can get advice from investors. I can get advice from visionaries, creators inside our apps, inside our ecosystem. So definitely a lot of people, including my own mother. My mother now has become an expert in Zoom. She's become an expert with shopping. And 10 years ago, she was like, Damien, get off your phone, Damien. There's no need to be on your phone. And now she's like, oh my God, I want to Zoom. I want to FaceTime.
Complete different environment, right?
Yeah.
Super crazy. So let's counter this to Adam. So as you guys know, Adam is also in law, and he obviously comes across a lot of business advice, and helping basically HR departments and employment law and a variety of stuff. So Adam, what are you seeing right now? Now, like tell us how things were. I would love to hear how it was before the pandemic. And then during the pandemic, and the biggest thing, all these people are losing jobs. Businesses are going out of business. What is happening in that world right now?
Yeah, I mean, when dealing with employment law, which is what I specialize in, we're tasked with having to undertake some difficult, at least guidance for companies to, in many situations, to lay people off. And what are some of the legal repercussions around it? What are ways to avoid liability? But at the end of the day, you're basically giving advice on how to terminate people. So that's
can't be easy, man. Holy
shit. Definitely not easy. And I've had to deal with that a lot. Fortunately, even though the government sort of came in a little late with this, a lot of companies were incentivized to retain employees, even though we've seen historic unemployment filings. Government did provide some loan incentives to companies to retain employees. So some were incentivized to retain and sort of bear through this. What I've seen with companies that did not want to lay people off is a lot about what we're talking about here, figuring out a way to make it work, pivoting, adjusting, adapting, managing the teleworking environment so that employees, even though they're used to coming into a physical office space every day, now the companies have had to adapt. And it's literally something I was talking about a year ago at an HR conference, where I was telling companies that, more and more people want to work from home, want to be able to work from anywhere in the world. This is literally what people want. Now it's time for the companies to step in, reduce your overhead with all the unnecessary office space, which is just going to waste right now.
Big time.
And start figuring out ways to, advance your goals, advance your interests, while also addressing your employee interests, which is to work from home, have more of a work-life balance, being able to see your family, being able to see your friends, while also skipping a commute. There's studies out there that show
One thing on
nuts, right?
Yeah, one thing on that, Adam, as we're on that topic. So let me tell you guys, right, so quickly, one of the most stressful things is not actually your job. It's the commute to your job and figuring out the logistics. When I was living in California, let me tell you this, guys, right?
I know this story.
I was commuting from San Francisco in a place called North Beach, Italian district. I was commuting from San Francisco to Cupertino, California, which was down in Silicon Valley. I was working for a corporate company. And that was so stressful, like meeting the times. And if I had left 5 minutes later, I'd be stuck in traffic. So what the companies around the Bay Area tried to do was on Fridays, they said, hey guys, we know you had a busy week. Why don't you guys stay at home, work from home? But what happened, guys, is that they abused the system. There was a certain number of employees just weren't turning up to meetings. They were looking scraggy on video. There was noise in the background. So my question to you, Adam, or Jonathan, what would you do if you were owner of a company? How would you actually facilitate that? And what measures would you put in place to ensure that employees are treating it like a legitimate day at work?
Yeah, I'll just start, and then I definitely want to hear from Jonathan too. That's a great question, Damien.
Really good question. Yeah.
I think that you're going to be able to weed out bad employees in a matter of time. You know what I mean? Good employees are going to do the same things at home that they're doing in the office. Bad employees are going to eventually do something recognizable in the office, which will weed themselves out, and you'll get to learn about them fast enough. So I think, yes, providing training is important, letting employees know that if they're doing meetings from home, it's the same thing, that if they're expected to do the same things they do at home that they do in the office, and just sort of laying out the expectations on the front end that working from home is no different. It's just the location has changed, right? And the expectations have not. So I think that being upfront with your employees that way, and also understanding that this may bring to light some of the bad habits that employees had, maybe in a quicker fashion.
Oh, big time, big time. So coming from a lot of experience, so a lot of our companies, including Pitch, actually, as you guys know very well, most of us actually do work from home. So it's kind of like a little bit of a balance, figuring out, especially when you have really big calls, right? So when you have really big calls and there's a lot of people involved in a call, you will definitely see some people basically may not be paying attention. You have the problems where people don't know how to unmute themselves, especially, I think Zoom was having such a big issue. Like, I don't know if any of you guys, have you seen any of the viral videos of someone going to the bathroom?
Every day.
Watching and such, like that stuff is real, right? So like, when having more people, there's a counterbalance. And the thing is, there has to be a level of respect. And like Adam was saying, it's like you kind of learn very quickly. Like we've had new employees like come in and basically there's no respect. You're calling them on the calls. They're not even there. So what they do is, especially if there's no camera, if the camera's not on, it's even easier to be able to just lay off the call. So you could be calling on people and they're easily like, oh, can you repeat the question? Or it's like, okay, what were you doing during this important call? So it's like, there's a level of respect that has to be kept there, and you can easily find it out, like you said, but there's always a counterbalance. And I'm going to add one very important factor. One of the things that we found is that having people work at home for us has been way more advantageous because it allows them to do the things that they need, that they value. Like one thing I've heard a lot is that they've had fun, like spending time with their family, their kids. They can do like, in-house workout sessions and stuff like that. So their productivity actually goes up. From what I've seen personally, literally goes up. So it makes me wonder, why are people still spending so much money having them in an office when in reality they could be home and be giving sometimes more productivity? Like, I'm sure it's not for everyone, but the productivity to me I've seen has gone up working from home. Sure.
Yeah, I think it's a trust issue. I think it's an old school mentality too, of just thinking I need to physically see what my employees are doing because I don't trust what they're doing, and I need to physically see them ruffling through papers.
Yeah.
Like, that to me is a very outdated mentality, but a lot of companies still have people that are running the companies that have had to go through 50 years of that themselves in order to put themselves in a position to where now they're overseeing and running the company, and they expect the same thing of their employees. So it's a little bit more difficult for those types of people to adapt.
Yeah,
100%. I guess I want to turn it to Damien. I mean, you were at a major corporation, before you switch into the entrepreneurial.
Apple.
For people that are thinking of maybe doing that switch now, is now a good time, or should they kind of hold on to their positions?
Such a good question.
Yeah, such a great question, and something
Jonathan already has
yeah, I battled with this question for a while, and I go back to what I recommend people to do, and that's number one is, here's the thing: the grass is always greener the other side. That's the first thing I'll say, and the second thing is, you got to understand, like, what are you truly inspired by? Like Jonathan and his mentors talk about that a lot. Like, what's highest on your values? Like, why would you even leave your job? Is it for financial security? Is it for risk? Is it for travel? Is it for family related? What are the underlying issues that you are actually participating in? Why do you want to leave your job? Okay, is it because you hate it? You want a different lifestyle? You've done 20 years of corporate experience. And what I tell people is, once you've identified the real reason, then you need to map out a 6-month plan. And that 6-month plan is going to allow you to have greater risk, and it's going to allow you to have a piece of budget put away for a rainy day. Like Dave Ramsey talks about it a lot, okay? Like putting away money for those days, like today, a pandemic, right? You know, you're dipping into your savings. I'm sure a lot of us are doing that right now. We're out of work and we're adapting. So I would recommend people is identify the real reason. Why would you want to move into entrepreneurship? Why would you want to maybe take a part-time job or something different? And then figure a plan of action, okay? So what I did personally was, I cut out all TV, I cut all out movies, I cut all out going out. And then my weekends were spent identifying, is this a viable option? And would I be crazy enough to leave corporate America? And what would the impact be on that decision? So I cut out all distractions, and then I spent maybe 40% of my week or 60% of my week on corporate, and then the rest was on my entrepreneurial journey. So again, to summarize, Adam, be careful about what you're going to do. Remember, there's many advantages of being with a corporate company. You get that, you get the 401, you get the insurance, you get the health, you get the days off. But when it comes to entrepreneurship, you have to be ultimately responsible for everything in the business. And I'm sure you guys know that, right? So that's kind of like my question or my answer related to people that are looking to move. Just be very dead set on why you're doing it and the plan of action.
What do you think about that, Jonathan?
I mean, this is a question that kind of I love. Like, I resonated with that. Like, I was like, man, that's such a good question, especially for
I saw you jumping at it.
Oh yeah, no, it's freaking amazing. I'm glad it was asked to Damien first, because if you guys don't know, like, Damien actually worked for Apple, and actually I met Damien while he worked for Apple. And that's how we kind of started our friendship and our business partnership. So we did so many things together. We lived at the marketer's mansion together. And I saw him take that leap, and it was a huge leap, like he even went to Bali to go learn from like Don Wilson and everything. And it was very inspiring to see that. And I've seen a lot of other people do that too, but the thing is, it is scary at the very beginning. Like, I had students of my own that basically left their jobs and then got into a position where they had a good job, and they were just Uber driving, They literally had one guy who was literally Uber driving because he couldn't make ends meet because the e-com thing didn't take off, but he was so set on it. He said, I don't care what I have to do, I'm going to make this work. And guess what? He ended up making it work. It took him a little time, but then now he has a very successful e-commerce business that's doing well. And it was a risk that he took. It was a massive risk. But like, the way I look at it is that, again, going back to what Damien was saying, is like very aligned with the same thing. It's like, what is your purpose? They call it your telos. DeMartini and Aristotle, they'll talk about these things. Back in the days, Aristotle, DeMartini, if you don't know who he is, Dr. DeMartini talks about values. And he basically talks about what is the most inspiring to you now. And things I believe in, like, sometimes you just need to take the jump and trust the process, and it will guide you in the right way. You know what I mean? Like, you'll be guided in the right way, and things will fall into place as long as you're clear on your intention and exactly what it is that you need to do. Literally, the universe will unfold perfectly exactly what you need, but understand that challenge is needed, right? So if you look at challenges as like more as lessons, and the challenges are ones that you're inspired to go after, nothing can stop you from getting to where you are. And no bad situation can be a bad one, because you don't consider them as bad. They're lessons, and then you're going in the right direction. It just might not be, the end goal might not look like a straight line. It's a whole zigzag. If you've seen those memes around, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So, yeah. And from your end on that same question, Adam, like, you know what I mean? Like, you're in the corporate world, and obviously you see people going back and forth. You deal with so many businesses and such, you being in that position, and not saying that you're leaving your corporate job or anything like that, but seeing it, like, what's your thought process? Like, what are the risks that people have to take a look at in case they are wanting to jump into entrepreneurship, or like right now, they're forced. Because if they were at a corporate job that no longer exists, what are they going to do?
Yeah, and I'm happy that you guys did not use COVID-19 as the reasoning for making that type of jump now. Both of you guys were consistent with that because you both said basically the same thing. Like, you have to evaluate the risk, you have to look at your values, and COVID-19 is not an excuse, right? So I think a lot of people are looking at this as a challenge and they want something different from the challenge because they're looking to escape. They don't want to deal with this directly. They're not willing to put in the hard work and the effort to like run right through it instead of run away from it, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people think that the easy way out is to go do something else. And I have seen a lot of people make that move, and I have seen a lot of mixed results with that. But what I can say is a definite pro of this now is to sort of look inside take the time, meditate if you meditate, or just be silent if you can, and just reflect on what your true intentions are and what your true goals are. Because now is the opportunity when you can do that. Okay, maybe we're forced to be at home and whatever, but we could spend that time doing a little bit of self-reflection and then looking at the things that both of you guys mentioned, which are, what are my true values? What are my true intentions? So I think we can use the time now to reflect on that. And hey, maybe it does make sense for you to do that now that you've had the opportunity to kind of sit on it and think through it, right? And meditate on it. So
big time. One of the things, so I'm going to tell you guys, like, I was looking so scruffy, guys. Like, if you saw that picture, oh my God, I was looking scruffy, and I finally went to go get a haircut. What was this, like 2 days ago? I feel so much better, to be honest. Like, getting a haircut is like, woof. So I had my barber come in, off of him just coming in just to hook me up. And I went to walk in the shopping mall, and I literally saw half this outside shopping mall was closed. Okay. Like, restaurants that were packed before closed. A lot of them, it was like an eerie feeling as I was walking down the shopping mall, and half of those half closed ones were fully closed. They said for lease, for sale. Yeah. I was just like baffled, like I couldn't believe my eyes. And what came to mind to me is that, and it actually resonated with Gary Troy's comment where he says, getting fired is the best day in your life. And what popped up to me is two things, that this is what happened with these people that actually are closed completely, shut down. Restaurants that could be open, curbside business, that's what the other ones were doing there. They were adapting. Like, if you saw what they were doing, like they had tables set up front, signs, like it was a whole different world to me. I couldn't believe what I was looking at. And the one thing that came up for the ones that went out of business was that two things that happened. One of them, they didn't have a runway. Okay, so they didn't have a financial runway to be able to get past bad times, and they weren't able to secure funding. So usually when that happens, that tells me one thing. It tells me that they were not inspired enough, or they weren't diligent enough, and they weren't almost like a warrior that's going to make sure we're going to get past this time. Okay, and sometimes we can come up with excuses that like, oh, we couldn't afford it, everything. Like, man, you'll make it happen one way or another if you really believe in what it is that you're doing. Okay, and then secondly, it was an excuse. Think about this for a second, right? So there's some people that are doing things that they're not even inspired about. They're just doing it because they're doing it. So to me, I was like, you know what? This owner, he was already on halfway out. He had 1 foot in the door, 1 foot out the door. So it was actually an opportunity to get out of that business now and restart. Gary's saying, that is the best time in your life. Sometimes it's the best thing that happens. So you can basically reevaluate and start from fresh on a brand new campus.
Yeah, totally agree. Like, speaking on adapting, my sister, she's actually living in New Zealand now. She moved there 8 years ago, and she owned a very, very busy physiotherapy clinic, and it was called Optimize Physio. And she lost basically obviously all the ability to see her clients. She couldn't do any consultations. So what she did was she looked into the opportunities of doing face-to-face consultations. So now New Zealand, which is a very it's a great country for adapting and getting through change. So now she went through all those weeks being able to consult online. So if you've got a business, look at the ways, just Google, look at the ways how you can serve people online, right? I know right now is that everybody's probably getting deliveries to their home, right? Rappi, there's a service here, Rappi, Uber Eats. There's a ton of other services that you can do if you have a
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And just to add to that, I think the consistency we've seen with all the guests on Pitch the World, and it's kind of a consistency with our discussion now, is, finding new ways during this time to be of value and of service to somebody else, right? And it may not be in the same way you were doing it before. Like I've known, I can name a handful of cases of people that did not sell masks for a living, and then during COVID-19, now they're selling the masks, right? Because it's of service to somebody. Curbside and the restaurant example, restaurants weren't doing that before, but they kind of reinvent themselves to continue to serve people. I think at Pitch Investors Live, like this right now is like the perfect opportunity to utilize this app, because you can literally be exactly as you are right now, have a conversation as we're having today, but be talking to an investor about your product or idea. Do not be dissuaded by this. In fact, be encouraged that, hey, now you have the app, you have the opportunity to get on with an investor. You don't have to travel to New York. You don't have to, get outside your comfort zone. You can literally do as we're doing now and possibly get your company funded. So I honestly think it's like the perfect time for Pitch Investors Live and other companies that I mentioned to, just add value and service to people that need the help right now.
Yeah, one thing I'll add to that. So if anyone knows anything about Pitch Investors Live, I'm going to pull out a real important plug. This is beneficial to everyone watching, is that we launched our 2.0 app. And as Adam was saying, there's so much benefit that you can get from talking to investors that you could literally instantaneously meet on Pitch Investors Live. But we created something super freaking amazing. We're working on it. We're making it better every single day, a collaboration wall for entrepreneurs, for businesses, for advisors, for investors. There's all kinds of people that if you go into our app, you'll be able to hit a collaboration wall. As soon as you come in, you'll see a little link that we're finally now live. And you can have conversations with other people that are in a very similar scenario where they're trying to find ways to get funding, getting loans, figuring out how their business works. And that's a great way for people to collab. So just understand, we did launch this. It's brand new. You guys can go on the Pitch Investors Live app. You go collab totally free. Okay, guys, free to go in there and collaborate with us also. We're actually on there, and we don't go into a lot of different forums and such. And there's a perfect opportunity. You can ask us any question and we'll respond to you guys too.
Yeah, definitely a massive opportunity. I love going there, reading the comments from different entrepreneurs, looking for help, looking for advice. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to connect those people together. And going back to your point, Adam, about value, one of the people that I listen to religiously is Jim Rohn. And Jim Rohn, farm boy from Idaho, moved to Beverly Hills. And what Jim Rohn says and what changed his life was actually, how do you deliver value in the marketplace, and how do you deliver so much value that makes you number one? So whatever service you have, whatever product you have, whatever business you have, what are you doing right now to create that extra value in these troubled times? So if you guys have any business opportunity, you have any idea whatsoever, come into the wall, give some value, tell us about your idea, connect with investors. We have a bunch of visionaries, leaders, and we have our amazing staff here at Pitch that is going to point you in the right direction to keep your business going.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people right now that may not be in need of funding, may not want to pitch to somebody, but I think that with the collaboration wall, for example, or maybe even taking pitches as an investor, you can contribute to the entrepreneurial community in so many different ways, just by offering mentorship, just by helping somebody out. And what I found is when you're helping somebody out, you feel good about that. You're really giving back, and it's not all about, your individual successes. Let's say you've had a successful life, you had a successful career. There's a lot of people out there that want to give back, but don't know how. So this is definitely an opportunity to help somebody, if you've had those years of success, to help somebody who is like in the beginning stages, or maybe has passed the beginning stages but needs to scale and get to the next level. What are some tips you've learned? And that's literally, those are the people we want to surround ourselves with, because we all benefit each other and we're all here to help each other.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm gonna tap into what you're saying right there. And this is a very, very important point that I believe. And it's like, see the type of environment that within the three of us right now, it's on a positive note. You know, like Adam pointed something out really awesome where it's like, we didn't even make COVID an excuse. You know, so like that's the type of mindset that you need to succeed, because you have to be around people that are seeing things not just in a positive way. Yes, we're going to look at the negative things that are happening and we're going to mitigate risk in that manner, but you have to see the end of the tunnel in a positive way, which is the adaptation, especially right now. So one of the big parts that I'll put in, and this is one of my favorite quotes as of late, is that money doesn't disappear. It just changes hands and direction, okay? And not only, this is the crazy part, not only is money not disappearing unless you have it in the stock market and everything like that, but physical money is not disappearing. And this is the very important part here now, is being printed like at unprecedented rates. So there's trillions of dollars getting injected into the economy. So it's like, there's so much money literally out there, it's just headed in a different direction. So if you're in one of those industries, let's say a physical retail store, you need to go fucking digital. You know, mind my language, but this is important stuff right here. Like, you have to go digital. You know what I mean? Like, the digital age is upon us, and if you don't find ways around it, like Alina had a question here, what tips do you have for people forced to push their businesses to the online space? How do they get started? What resources Pitch Investors Live have for them? So the easy way to answer that one is depending on your business. Okay, so my mom owns a juice bar. And basically, they did get hit, okay? They don't have people that are staying there. And one of the things that I told her to do, I was like, man, right now is perfect time to sell immunity kits, right? So like, people want to stay healthier, so making kits and then running some Facebook ads and everything. And when she started just selling immunity kits for people that are coming in for takeout, boom, her business started to go a little bit higher. Imagine if she started to run Facebook ads. Okay, so you have to start thinking with more of a digital type of way of doing. That's the way where you adapt. So any business that was at one point just physical, right now is a perfect time. I know that Shopify right now is literally doing a deal where they give you 90 days for free. Okay, they never do that before. 90 days free, even the $300 package, which is $900 for free by Shopify, in order to basically use their services. So you can literally take the products that you had, and if you're able to ship, put them on Shopify. You know, that's a great way to do it. You have to adapt very quickly, but understand that money is not disappearing. It's still there. It not only is there, it's getting printed at unprecedented rates right now.
Yeah, exactly. And if this pandemic never happened, it wouldn't open up these opportunities and these new curiosities that now exist, because when people think of digital, they think, oh my God, this is going to be some sort of technological challenge, some business degree I need. When in fact, Shopify and other platforms like that literally design systems and platforms for people who are non-technical. So me as a business owner, or Adam or Jonathan, can launch a brand new business in 24 hours. Why? Because they realize that we're moving into a digital era where entrepreneurs need to be, spread across many different departments and not just focus on coding websites all day long. So Shopify, #1 leader. ClickFunnels, obviously, great for sales pages and stuff like that. So definitely these times they do open up opportunities for people now to move into online, right? And see how it goes. Put a little budget aside, put $1,000, $2,000, and see how it works.
Yeah, I think the thing with becoming more savvy online with e-commerce is, let's say the pandemic is over and we return back to normalcy. I think there's going to be this is creating such a disruption, and I mean that both ways, both positively and negatively, that a lot of people are going to stay online and utilize the tools that they learned during this process. And I think the sort of a brick and mortar stores and storefronts, I mean, they're really going to have to adapt right now, because who knows what that's going to look like, if at all, in the near future. So take this as the opportunity to become more savvy online, learn how to sell online, work with someone like Damien who can teach you. I mean, he's offering courses right now that can teach you to set up a store quickly and selling right away. I mean, the resources are out there. It's just, what excuse are you going to use not to do it?
One of the things that I resonate with what you say, Adam, is that I also truly believe things are never going to be the same, guys. Like, never. Like, honestly, you need to be ready to adapt and get more influx with the digital spectrum. And as like Damien also said, is that the tools are getting easier. Like, thank goodness that the tools are getting so much easier that almost anyone can do it. Like Shopify compared to how things were done with WordPress back in the day is night and day. Anyone can actually launch this out. You know, about 4 or 5 years ago, like grandmas didn't know how to use cell phones and Facebook, and now they're becoming experts. Now there's a whole new influx of people, going back to what you said, Adam, there's a whole new influx of people that are now shoppers online, because you know what? And I know it from being in e-commerce for so long, grandmas are scared, moms are scared. They're not willing to do it. They always want to see a physical product. How are they doing it now? They can't. They're forced to shop online, and they realize, you know what? It's not that hard. You know what? I did get my product. You know what? This is not so bad because I didn't even have to go get dressed, put my makeup on, and then have to drive all the way to the mall. It was way easier. You know, that's why Amazon took off. Now we have a very similar thing happening in the world. So as you said, Adam, spot on as can be, more people are going to stay online now. You're going to see less physical locations, 100%. Yeah. Cool. So let's go ahead and ask a real important question here. Okay. So during this time, I'm going to ask this to Adam really quickly. So during this time and the adaptation that you've seen that people have to do in urgent scenarios, okay, so in urgent scenarios, what have you seen that companies that have a huge shift, literally, like they, and going back a little bit to Alina's question there, is in a very quick moment that everything changes. What is the mindset? This is going to go to you too, Damien, because this is so important. What's the mindset that is needed during such massive shift that we've actually had? And some people are going through dramatic stuff, guys. Just because it's not happening to you, it's definitely happening to other people. What's the mindset needed to stay stable, stay sturdy? What do you think that is best done when things change so quickly, which potentially could still happen in the coming future?
Yeah, and I'm not going to be able to articulate this as well as someone like a Dr. Lisa, but I think it really amounts to not having the knee-jerk fight or flight reaction in the moment, which is often emotionally driven and often based on fear. So I think it's just a matter of absorbing the information, processing it, surrounding yourself with people that know things that you don't know. So this is where I've been of value to people, because I've been a legal advisor to companies and a lawyer on the employment side to help companies, help them evaluate from an outsider's perspective, what I see that they may not see. And it's so important to surround yourself with people that can help you and fill in the gaps on your weaknesses in the areas that you may not be so strong on. And it takes a really, really cognizant person to understand that they don't know everything. Okay. That's like the biggest thing, is like the three of us, we're experts in our respective areas, but there's so much we don't know. And it's so freaking important that we surround ourselves with the people that can help us make decisions. So I would say first is, do not react off that fight or flight, fear-based reaction that we all instinctively want to do. We're not being chased by a lion, okay? When we really should be acting that way. And then, process the information, take it in, have some patience, and then surround yourself with the right people to help you make an informed decision.
Oh, big time. Money. Damien, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, so my mindset and how I'm approaching this, and how I recommend everyone out there to do, is keep a positive growth mindset and have the idea and have the picture in your mind that this is all going to end. It could be a few months, it could be 6 months, it could be next week, but have the same goals that you had in 2020. Keep consistent, keep dedicated to whatever it is you intended to start, and finish it out, because life has many roller coasters. And if we can get through this is the greatest challenge that I think has affected many of us here on this call. Maybe 9/11 has rivaled that, but this pandemic itself is challenging each and every one of us. And those of us that can keep consistent to what we're trying to achieve and get through this turbulent time, we're going to come out, and before you know it, the world is going to open back up, and you're going to be like, wait a minute, wow, I should have prepared more. I should have been ready for when this all kicked off again. And one of the most important things now is a lot of people are at home. So every day I go through the same routine. So if you can get into a routine, a consistent routine. So my routine is, number one, keep my routine, exercise and eat well, schedule schedule some time where you're doing nothing. You're just relaxing. You're reading a book. You're getting education. Take some risks. Be persistent. Stay diplomatic. There's a lot of arguing. There's a lot of back and forth on social media. I like to refrain. I like to gain knowledge, but I like to refrain sometimes because no matter how right you are, you're always wrong in someone's eyes. So. Buy something for yourself. If you're at home right now, maybe you didn't get your latest haircut, go out and buy something that you've always wanted to buy. And then the three other things: working from home, you got to be very specific in where you're going to work. Like I have this little corner here. I blocked away for the day. I've got a nice clean space, and my mindset is just to go through the daily routine: exercise, eat, perform well, stay to my goals. So that's what I would recommend. For people, especially with family and kids, try and block away a little section of the house where it's your part of the house and it's where you can work on your goals and the things you need to get done during these times.
Yeah, amen. That was great. That was awesome. Yeah, great. I'll add a couple things inside there. So, as these times come in, and like what Adam was saying is like we're not being chased by a lion. So like, what does that mean? So it's like we for a very long time have operated for an animal instinct, flight or flight type of mentality. You know what I mean? And when you do that, you're acting very much like an animal. So what you want to do is heighten that awareness to be able to take a step back, evaluate the situation like Adam is saying, and understand that sometimes these challenges are actually some of the best things that are actually happening. Like one thing that happened to us, like for our e-commerce business, we ended up ordering way too. We had a huge issue that happened. Our inventory was messed up. We ordered way too damn much inventory, over $1 million worth of inventory, like $1.5 million. And we're like, a profit is in freaking inventory. And then now this epidemic is coming. So we're like, oh my God. And it actually ended up being a blessing in disguise because of the prices of everything went up. The shipping prices have gone up like crazy, and we couldn't ship anything from China for almost like 2 months. So if we had made that mistake, we actually would have been put in a worse position. So like the one thing I love to say is that like nothing happens by accident, and there's always like an exact flow. As long as you're very intentional where you're headed and you continue to do it and you see these challenges in the right way, like you will get to the place that you're trying to get to. And the most important thing for me and how I'm looking at all this right now, and I actually wrote about this in this article. So I have a Medium account, guys, if anyone wants to check that out. And I think it's Jonathan Foltz, but I wrote something called, I think it was called The Digital Revolution That Is Coming. And it talked about demise. But the most sweet part, and this is so important to know for all of us right now, is that after we were supposed to come out of that, with 5G technology, we're using crowdsourcing, everything is speeding up so much that you are literally going to see a brand new world emerge. And are you going to be a victim in this brand new world, or are you going to be one of those power blowing, visionary, building, taking risks? Because there has never been a time, I'm telling you guys right now, and I'll call it right now so we can look at this in the future, there will never be a time that we're going to see such crazy growth and people explode out of nowhere. I guarantee you're going to see people explode out of nowhere and become beast of industry. And then you're going to see the beast of industry literally fail to nothing because they were not ready for the digital revolution that was coming. So it's coming.
Yeah. Maybe we should do like a just final thoughts, as we wrap it up, and maybe take a question or two. You guys cool with that?
Yeah, let's do it.
So, I mean, just my last final thoughts I have on this is, if you're watching this and you've experienced at some point frustration, the feeling of no light at the end of the tunnel, or I can't do this, or I can't get through this. Just know that you can, and know that there's people that you can talk to who may be thinking about things and seeing things from a different way than you. And there's resources out there. And the three of us are good examples of that. The three of us are in different industries and do different things, but we all work together because we provide each other with different perspectives. And that's just so freaking important. If you want to succeed, you can't do it all by yourself. Okay, that's the most important piece of advice I have is, look for other complementary people that know things that you don't know, that see things a different way. They may disagree with you every freaking time, but disagreement is good, and build that network. Okay, that's really what I think you can do at this time now.
Amen to that one. Yeah. Damien, you want to?
Yeah, I'll touch on the non-business side of things. I think that it's becoming, and I think Adam addressed a lot of this with Dr. Lisa on the previous episode. We're actually in season 2 right now, guys, of Pitch the Word. You can go back and rewatch some of the episodes, but we touch a number of different situations, stuff going on in the entrepreneurial world. But one thing that I've always been a supporter of is mental health. And there are going to be a lot of challenges, no matter how successful you are, no matter how new you are to the world. It's important that you look after yourself, you stay healthy. And for those of you guys that you may be connected with, especially the elderly, now is a time to reach out. And there's no real excuse. We have Zoom, we have WhatsApp, we have Facebook Messenger, we have all these connections that you can actually. We have a phone. And if you can just pick up the phone and call someone and ask them how they're doing, or just check in with them, that means a lot to that person. Very, very challenging times. You got to realize, guys, I've been on this planet now 30 something years, and my freedom has never been taken away like this before. So you can imagine the elderly, the people that rely on people calling to their homes, bringing some piece of good information, the paper, the milk, whatever it may be. So my advice is to summarize, is to basically, guys, look after the people that mean the most to you. And I think a lot of people, I'm not a father, I don't have a family yet, but I think a lot of people are realizing during these times that it's a perfect opportunity to connect more with those that you love most.
Great. Yeah, great. The personal point from there. So, my last thoughts on this are that, guys, we really, sometimes I wake up and I'm just like, and I love challenge. I'm a person, I love it. And sometimes I wake up and I'm like, I can't believe this is real. Literally 2.5, 3 months ago, everything was good. We knew something was happening in China and everything like that, but we didn't know, because of all the other viruses that have hit the planet, we've never done what has happened here. And to me, it's I wake up sometimes, I'm like, damn. And I'm like, the thing that keeps me going is understanding that this is an evolution. Okay, this is literally an evolutionary point in mankind's history that we're going to look back on, and we're going to literally tell our kids, we're going to tell our grandkids about what happened here and how it literally changed everything. You guys are going to see such a huge shift. First of all, consciousness wise, I'm already seeing it happen right now. Technologically speaking, that's happening as we speak now. People that never use technology. So just feel, in my eyes, it's you kind of have to feel lucky to be part of this crazy madness that's going on because of what it's doing to mankind and the evolution of where we're going and how everything's been. So, understanding that and seeing the positive light and everything that's happening is so powerful. And understand that you can learn new things and that you can basically shift into something that you always wanted to do. If you always thought about it, this is the time. There's no better time than right now. So, that's my last thoughts on that. And I guess let's take, guys, a couple questions. Adam, you still got a couple minutes that we can take?
I have to respectfully jump off, but thank you guys. Really appreciate you. And if anybody wants to reach out to me, the information will be on this video. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, brother. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Adam.
Yep.
Take care, guys.
All right, guys. All right, guys. Last thoughts. Let's give Damien, let's give some last thoughts on here. There's a couple questions, and I just want to give some iteration about Pitch Investors Live. So if you can answer this question, Damien, really quick. Gershon was asking, what are the requirements for possibly getting an investment or pitching his idea? So if you can answer that, Dame.
Yeah. So when we actually started the vision of Pitch, Jonathan, myself, Matthew, Umair, and obviously the whole team at Pitch, our mission was always to connect people regardless of who they were, where they're located, and those that did not have access to Silicon Valley, Tel Aviv, or London, and open up a whole new playing field, right? So our goal was to kind of take the Shark Tank Kickstarter model and merge it into this, online platform that we could connect people so fast, so freely, without borders, without the need to travel and invest time. So we put together this app, and to answer your question, we have it open to anybody. You could be an entrepreneur, you could be a small business, you could be an established business, and you could be looking for funding, you could be looking for strategic alliances, growth, business plan reviews, pitch decks. You could want to talk to some of the members of Pitch. Whatever it is, we facilitated you, and we have a really, really awesome onboarding where, you know, someone that maybe not know exactly what they need, our staff, Diana, can get on a call with you, a free call, and figure out how to tailor your pitch or how to tailor your package or your summary and how to actually find the right people that you need to take your business and move your business forward. So to answer your question, we're open to everybody. Doesn't matter where you live. Download the app. You can go to pitchinvestorsnow.com/download. We're available on iOS, Android, and desktop. Very, very simple process. As mentioned earlier, we have an ecosystem that allows you to network and connect with other people inside there. So it's going to give you tremendous value. And I look forward to seeing you on the app, engaging, connecting. You can even message people directly on the app itself, collaborate. And I'd love to hear how I can help this gentleman, Gershwin, more. But maybe I might take it offline. But open to anyone, Jonathan, as you know yourself.
Yeah. So Gershwin and anyone else that is watching, all you got to do, download our app, whether you have an Android or iPhone, download the app. And my suggestion, you have to fill out the application. So we've actually now integrated. This is another cool update, guys. We got AI technology. Okay, real AI, okay, bottom level AI, but it's AI for smart matching you against other investors and such. So you have to fill out the application. So when you come into the site, you got to fill out all the information. So Gershwin, that's what you want to do. And then secondly, go to the collaboration wall and talk about your project. Okay, because investors are watching that area. They're checking out what's going on. So if you go in there and you're like, hey guys, this is who I am. This is what's going on. This is my business. I need some help. I need this. And then you can also talk to Diani or Diana. You'll see Diani on this chat over here, and she can help you get initiated and everything like that. And we'll check out more of your project. And we hope to see you guys like checking out what we have going on and seeing you actually doing a pitch to one of our investors, you know, which is what we're about. We're here to help out. Like, you know, like me and Damien have very similar missions. And probably one of the reasons we've been friends for so long and business partners is that we want to support and help entrepreneurs and businesses. That's why we resonated so much and started Pitch Investors Live, so that we can basically facilitate that for all the entrepreneurs in the world in a way that has never been done before. So it's been quite exciting. So, you know, Damien, any last thoughts before we take off here?
Yeah, I think, first of all, thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Adam. And thank you, everybody that watched today. For those of you guys that we didn't get to your questions, you know, we'll answer them in the comments. And anybody watching the replay, just put #replay, and we'll make sure to answer every specific question. Diana, Diani, we're here to help everybody, as Jonathan said. So that's it. I just, my summary is to find a routine, get consistent, and what goals you set in 2020, keep them going. And I think that we'd all get through this, but there will be changes. There will be adaptation we'll have to go through. So if anybody needs any help with setting up their online business with e-commerce or adapting, there's Jonathan, there's myself, and the rest of the Pitch Investors Live team here, very experienced in the digital marketing world.
Yeah, guys. So you heard it from us all. You know, thanks, Adam, for coming on. Damien, really good always catching up with you and everything. Super amazing. The whole entire video, if you guys haven't seen the whole thing, make sure you go back to the beginning and check it out. You know, right now is the time that you guys can do incredible things. And good luck to everyone. And, you know, we're going to all get out of this in an amazing way. And now's the time to make huge dents in basically the field of the world. So I'm very excited to see this all go down. Thanks, Damien.
Thank you, guys.
Have a great one, everyone.
Talk to you soon. Bye. Bye.
Thanks.